pressed against the land like a living thing, thick and heavy as we stepped out at first light toward the edge of a dense pine forest where the ground was still torn from fresh rooting. Locals had warned us a whole group of boars had been creeping closer every night, tearing up fields and ripping through gardens, and the dogs caught the trail almost immediately, barking sharp and diving deep into the timber. The stillness snapped in an instant as a massive boar burst from cover and tore across a clearing, and with a steady squeeze, the shot dropped it clean. The dogs circled back, pushing a smaller one straight toward us, and within minutes we had 2 down, proof of how fast a morning can flip from calm to chaos. Another day found us crossing lowland pastures just after harvest, the stubble loud beneath our boots, so we spread out and let the dog line push slowly across the field. For 20 quiet minutes nothing moved, until the ground a few hundred yards ahead suddenly erupted. A whole family poured out of the corn stubble, sprinting into the open in a storm of dirt and panic. Some bolted straight into the field while others cut back into cover, and we fired only when the angles were clean, dropping a few before following the scent to be sure nothing was left wounded. By the time the sun climbed high, the farmer finally looked relieved, knowing his land would get at least one peaceful night. Before dawn on another run, frost clung to the grass as we made our way toward a curving stretch of riverbank covered in days-old tracks. The river shimmered silver in the rising light, and the churned-up wallows told us boars had been slipping in and out all week. The dogs suddenly tensed, then a dark shape thundered from the edge, huge and moving with purpose. Shots cracked across the valley and splashes echoed as animals tried to flee through the current. We hauled one out by the river's edge, checked everything, and pushed on as the rest vanished into the trees like ghosts. Later in the open meadow, the calm felt suspicious, almost staged, but we waited anyway. Then the ground seemed to tremble. One by one, dark shapes appeared. First 5, then 10, then a whole herd flooding into the field like a moving shadow. My pulse hammered as the first shot rang out, followed by dogs barking and the explosive scatter of bodies breaking for the tree line. We dropped several before the rest disappeared into the woods, and for a moment the meadow felt like a battlefield settling into silence. The next morning brought a different kind of tension, with mist hanging low over the forest as we moved through the damp, heavy quiet. Every step echoed just a little too loudly, and the dogs moved with laser focus, tails high, muscles tight. Then from the deep brush came a guttural grunt that cut through the silence like a warning. The undergrowth shook violently as the first beast charged with unbelievable speed, its power obvious even before it broke through the thicket. Rifles fired and echoes rolled across the forest, the world exploding into raw, primal intensity. Moments like that test everything. Your aim, your nerves, your instinct to stand your ground or step back as a wild boar barrels toward you with nothing but force in its mind. When the echoes faded and the dogs settled, the forest seemed to exhale again, leaving behind a rush of adrenaline only hunters understand. Hunts like these swing from calm to chaos in a heartbeat, from still mornings to explosive charges, from quiet riverbanks to full-force meadow storms, and every run becomes a story that stays with you long after the smoke clears.